Welcome to the City Council meeting for Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. By your presence in the City Council chambers, you are participating in the process of representative government. All are encouraged to participate. They will have a 3-minute limit, and that will be later on anything that is not on tonight's agenda. Would you join me in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Council President Sparks.
Here.
Councilmember Banks.
Here.
Council Vice President Wilkie.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember McKay.
Here.
Councilmember Closey.
Here.
Councilmember Wheeler.
Here.
Councilmember Mize.
Here.
Councilmember Canopy.
Here.
Thank you. We have the approval of the minutes of March 25th, 2025.
Your Honor, I would move to approve the minutes of City Council of March 25th, 2025.
A motion made by Council Vice President Wilkie, seconded by President Sparks. Public comment? Any council discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 8-0. Correspondence, we have a resignation letter from Shane Lindsay. Is that for the airport authority? Okay. And then we have the police and fire monthly reports for March. Any council disclosure of ex parte? Have no public hearings? Are there any council requests to remove anything from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda for April 8th, 2025.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Closey, seconded by Vice President Wilkie. Any public comment? Council discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 8-0. We have nothing on the ceremonial calendar. You have Budget and Finance Committee minutes, March 25th. We now move to audience participation with a 3-minute limit. Do we have anybody? Would you please come up to the pulpit and state your name and address? You may.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, honorable committee, councilwomen and men. My name is Peggy Miller and I have been a Laurel resident for 42 years. I am coming tonight to address our Laurel Public Library, the public room for meetings. I personally have been there several times throughout the years and asked about renting or reserving it. I was told the room was being used to store extra books, and that they were going to be sorted and it would be cleaned up for the public. I would stop by sometimes to see if it was still being used for storage, and I did leave because it is. I felt it would be cleaned up, so I should have come sooner, but I'm here tonight because of my time frame. I have had to use the Billings Public Library many times because it is open to the public and ours is not available. It is unfortunate this room has been closed to the public for years. I used to reserve it and use it many times. I visited the library on January 16th of 2025 to see the condition. Still even worse, the back meeting room is filled. This prevented me and others who did not know about the room from reserving it. Many people haven't a clue. I was in the building again on March 10th and seen that the condition was the same. As the photos show, it is being used to store many things and it should not, and cats are roaming the facility. I am coming here tonight to ask that you would review the library policy to remove the items that shouldn't be there and restore the building meeting room to the function it was designed for the community, organizations, and those of us who pay city taxes. You may contact me for further questions or discussion. If I'm wrong in this matter, please let me know. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully, Peggy Miller.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys for serving. I do appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to scheduled matters. We have the appointment of Gary Blaine to the Laurel Airport Authority for the remainder of a 5-year term ending June 30th, 2025.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the mayor's appointment of Gary Blaine to the Laurel Airport Authority for the remainder of a 5-year term ending June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Motion made by Council President Parks, seconded by Vice President Wilkie. Public comment? Council discussion? Did you want to say anything? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 8-0. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution, R25-24. It's a resolution to submit regularly elected officers to the electorate and notifying the Yellowstone County Election Administrator of the City of Laurel's desire to conduct the primary, if held, and the general elections by mail-in ballot in accordance with Montana Code Annotated 13-19-202.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to approve the resolution number R2524.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Canopy, second by Vice President Wilkie. Any public comment? Council discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 8-0. Moving on to a resolution R25-25. A resolution of the City Council to accept studies of the city's existing water and wastewater rate structures and recommendations for any necessary modifications to the existing rate structures prepared by Raftellus Financial Consultants, Inc.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve resolution number R25-25.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember McKay, seconded by Vice President Wilkie. Any public comment? Council discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 8-0. Then we have a resolution R25-26, a resolution of the City Council approving the sublease agreement by and between Laurel High School District Number 7 and American Legion Baseball Post Number 123 Laurel Dodgers.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve resolution number R25-26.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Mize, seconded by Vice President Wilkie. The attorney would like to comment during council discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first want to extend my incredible thanks to Councilmember Closey for his help with this particular sublease agreement. On behalf of American Legion Baseball Post 123, Laurel Dodgers, Councilmember Closey helped me to identify some things in this agreement that didn't necessarily stick out to me in relationship to the party issues, just because of my lack of knowledge of how American Legion functions. So he was an incredible amount of help in getting some necessary changes to this agreement. There is one last change that does need to be made. And so I do want to note on the record that from a substantive standpoint, if council approves this sublease agreement tonight, it will remain in substance exactly as it is, except that the signature line of what the school district and the Laurel Dodgers sent over is not the correct technical party for American Legion. And we can't really tell who exactly signed it. And so I'm not sure who was in charge of figuring out proper party issue here, but somehow that did get missed. Rather than waiting to put this out another cycle, what we were hoping is that council could consider the contract in front of you in substance with the amendment that the signature line for the Laurel Dodgers will be changed to reflect the appropriate party for the Dodgers to be signed, not the signature line as it is reflected right now. So if the sublease agreement is approved tonight, then I will re-forward to the school district and the Laurel Dodgers to obtain their signatures, and then we'll make it a matter of record.
Councilmember McKay.
Thank you. I know I was absent last week due to a band concert, but did we workshop this?
Yeah.
When? I watched the live and when I reviewed the minutes. So it has not been workshopped? I don't recall discussing it at all. My concern with that is just, I don't know if, with no representatives from the Dodgers, no representatives from the school, is it okay with all the parties? Are there any concerns? I don't know that I don't know anything about it. So that was my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McKay. So I wasn't at last week's meeting. I apologize. And I typically do watch them right afterwards, but because of some personal circumstances, I'm one meeting behind. So I apologize. I didn't realize there wasn't any discussion at workshop about this. If it needs to be moved again for appropriate discussion, certainly council can move to postpone to the next meeting or table to the next meeting. I will represent that both myself and CAO Mark Egard, as well as Public Works Director Matt Wheeler, the mayor and Councilmember Closey, were you present at one of the meetings we had? Okay, I could not remember if I just maybe circled you in on American Legion things. We did have meetings. There were school board members present. There were Laurel Dodgers. I believe the president was present. Kurt, you might be able to clarify as to parties. And at the start of initiating the discussions on the sublease agreement, and then we had subsequent meetings formalizing the agreement. The agreement itself was actually drafted by the school district's legal counsel, and then it was circulated to me as legal counsel as well as the American Legion for any changes. I've been in extensive communications with the school district and the Laurel Dodgers president. Councilmember Closey might have to correct me on the correct title, about whether the draft that we're presenting to council is exactly what the school district and the Laurel Dodgers is relying upon, and it is. That said, we did not extend formal, they were aware it was on city council agenda. I don't think that we extended any formal request for them to be present, but certainly if you would like that, if we table the discussion, we can extend the request for them to be present at the next meeting.
Councilmember Closey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the rest of the city council, the American Legion baseball is covered under the American Legion umbrella. It's a program under the American Legion. And the questions that I raised about the contract was, it stated that the contract was between the American Legion Auxiliary Post, and Auxiliary is a separate entity. They have their own congressional constitution, separate from the American Legion, and they have no baseball program. So that was the issue I brought up, that technically it was not the Auxiliary involved in it. It was the American Legion program. And so the signature part is also stated that it was the American Legion Auxiliary unit. So that was, as far as the contract itself, there was no disagreement. It was just the wording for the parties was needed to be corrected. Thank you.
I will further, I'm sorry, Kurt. I will further represent to city council. The high school baseball team has started utilizing the facilities and is practicing. Kurt and I had an incredible amount of concern when we found out when practice was supposed to commence and the fact that we didn't have the sublease agreement signed at that time. So what we did to create a stopgap to ensure that the city was covered from a liability standpoint was that I worked with the school district to make sure that the school district had us on as additional insured. So from an insurance standpoint, if anything were to happen, we obviously have the lease agreement in place that exists already right now. As it relates to the sublease, we have insurance coverage. So I'd say from a timing standpoint, I don't know that if further discussion is needed, it would create any liability gaps for us because we've ensured that that is covered. And so I do want council to be aware we're completely protected from a liability standpoint for use of those premises right now. But as everyone is probably aware, the high school season has commenced and they are using the facilities for practice.
And also, the original lease for the baseball field has a stipulation in there that the city council will not unduly disallow a sublease. So when we were starting to talk about it, when they first announced that they were raising funds almost, I think, last fall, and it was contingent upon having a high school baseball, I raised the concern that where are they going to play? We already have a lease. The council has already agreed to a lease that was only, I think, 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I went through that lease agreement and read to see what our standing was because I thought it was essentially the school district deciding what to do with this. Say if it was going to be a city field, that they were going to play on the Dodgers field, that I better review the lease. So I reviewed the lease last fall. I contacted city mayor, city attorney and said, listen, we already have a lease. We can't just release that. We're not going to terminate a lease when it's a 5-year term. And we're not going to probably have to come in front of the council and say we're going to terminate that lease. There is that stipulation in there that the city council or the city should not unduly disallow a sublease. So that's essentially the route we went. We contacted the school district and said, hey, listen, if you're going to use the Dodger Field, what we call the Dodger Field, you've got to work with the American Legion to get a sublease through them instead of coming right to the city council for a second lease. You can't lease out 2 properties on the same grounds unless it was totally, we don't really have a season in there. We have a term. So the term was 5 years. And so we're sitting there saying, well, it's already leased. So that's when we went through the sublease agreement. And that's when the athletic director for the school district was starting to work with our city attorney and their legal counsel at the school to try to get that sublease put together. And unfortunately, it took a lot longer than we thought. And then as soon as they announced that they're going to start their baseball season, I saw it, I think, on Facebook. And then Councilmember Canopy notified me. And so working with them, I reached out to like I said, the city attorney and the mayor and said, listen, what are we going to do? Let's at least make sure they have insurance policy on that field so that we are covered as a city. And essentially that is exactly how it happened. And I think we thought it was on the workshop. So Councilmember McKay, we put it on the workshop, but then we found out the signatures need to be changed and stuff. And so I think the mayor then pulled that so that, but it was meant to be on the workshop last week. I'm sorry, I wasn't here. I had a fall and had a medical condition, so I wasn't able to attend. But anyway, just for background on that.
Councilmember Mize.
Thank you very much. So do the Dodgers not need it during this time of year?
So and Kurt can also speak if I apologize. Kurt, you can also correct me if I'm wrong from anything in our meetings. I will tell you that the relationship between these two parties and the meetings that we have had was incredibly collaborative. Both the school district and the Dodgers were thrilled with the possibility of these two teams, two different organizations being able to utilize these facilities. They both spoke very highly about the draw that this would bring for the Laurel community, being able to use the field, these fields and the premises for events that they ordinarily are not able to. for a lot of high school events. So they already, I know, had mentioned they had a lot of different programs in the works that could either develop through this high school season or moving forward. So it was a very much a collaborative and unified approach. The other thing that they conveyed to us, it is not an overlapping season. There was a very short window, I think, when tryouts first began for the high school players. But my understanding was it did not overlap in any formal respect. But many of the same players that will be able to play for the high school program and on the American Legion program they're similar players. And so from a skill development standpoint, everyone was incredibly positive about the program. And I think from the city standpoint, one of the things that Kurt and myself and the mayor and Matt really tried to convey is, that if we can, as a city, a governmental entity, provide support for these youth programs to allow them to have more extended season and more opportunities, certainly from a recruiting standpoint as well, we wanted to express our support for that, at least from a staff standpoint.
Councilmember Closey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To answer your question, the Montana Athletic Association has an agreement that the high school baseball, when it's finished, then the American Legion baseball will start. So they don't play at the same time. The Legion waits until the high school season is over before they start.
Go ahead.
Just to reiterate on the high school baseball season is 14 games. The Dodgers is well over 100 games is in the, so kind of like the basketball games or football games.
Sure about that?
Yeah, it's 14 games.
No, I meant the 100 games.
Oh, yeah, they play double headers and triple headers all the time when they travel, so. 70? Oh, 70? I heard they were gonna try to fit in over 100 this year.
I ain't fishing
So-
with this guy.
Anyway, that was relayed to me that 14 games, that's a very limited schedule, and I just believe that Dodgers tryouts is starting here soon.
Councilmember Mize.
Thank you. So my next question is, under section 2, the sublease says it will be subleased for a term of 15 years. But if our contract with the Legion and the Dodgers is only 5 years, how can we sublease it for 15?
The contract, that language mirrors what is in our underlying contract. So I'm not looking at the underlying contract right in front of me right now, but it is a link that, if I recall, is at like 15 years. I believe it's broken out to where it automatically renews in that amount of time period, but it is a lengthy lease. The sublease is meant to mirror, and it does. I can represent the language of the lease agreement. And as Kurt mentioned, that's exactly how subleases function. And it is, entities are typically, in most contractual situations, generally barred absent unique circumstances from prohibiting subleases. Because from a legal standpoint, the legislature wants to encourage use of facilities that are subject to leases rather than them sitting, vacant or unused. And so it's not as if the sublease is denied by city council, that's not legally permissible. It is. What I would request out of city council, if city council chooses not to approve the sublease, is that reasons are articulated for that, so that we make sure that we can explain that, because this is not, subleases do not function as underlying primary lease agreements do, where you can decline them for a number of reasons. It's meant to encourage the use of the premises. And in this case, when we have two consenting parties, as long as we mirror the requirements, which is exactly what we've done from an insurability standpoint, liability, term, et cetera, the landlord, the lessor under the lease agreement, should be encouraged to approve a use of the premises through a sublease.
Table it or vote on it? Do I hear anybody wanting to table it? Any other, we have a motion. Do we have any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 8-0. Thank you. No items removed. Community announcements, 1 minute. Council discussion? Councilmember Closey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say that I think it was like a week ago or something, I went by Thompson Park and there was a baseball game, the high school was playing. And there was no parking places to be had and the stands were full, so the high school is drawing a lot of people to it.
Wait until they play Central. Anything else? I have one update and Kurt can help me with it. Kurt got a call. You want to explain that call this afternoon?
What call?
Loves.
Huh?
Loves.
Loves?
Yeah. They want to fast track the zoning and, or the,
Oh, the council had authorized the annexation of a property west of Laurel. That property has been closed on. Part of your annexation approval, preliminary annexation approval is that the people that own the property, they were going to extend the water and sewer infrastructure. We received an email that the DEQ has approved the water and sewer extensions out to the property west of Laurel. And we have plans being submitted for a review of the building plans for a Love's Truck Plaza and a restaurant with it.
Arby's.
So anyway, so we are going to be on the review and I'm going to make a phone call tomorrow with the developer to make sure that we can get the annexation agreement back in front of the council for final approval. It's dependent upon the infrastructure getting out there. They've got DEQ approval. We're waiting on the state of Montana Department of Transportation because we're using their right of way to go out there. And then they want to talk to our city attorney and myself about a latecomers agreement. If they extend the water and sewer, we have it in our Laurel Municipal Code that they are eligible to receive funds back from any future development that is a period of 7 years. And so they want to have a discussion with our city attorney and myself to figure out a way to figure out a fee, how to do that so that they are compensated. Currently, I believe the cost estimate was almost $1.8 million that they're going to invest in water and sewer to bring that water and sewer out to that property. So we have some growth going on. So it's kind of the mayor's good news, I guess he wanted me to talk about. He should warn me in the future.
Huh?
But thank you.
Any unscheduled matters? That's gonna be like the baseball movie, where if you build it, they will come. Yeah. I can see those cornfields turning into houses out there. So. Adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adjourn the council meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Banks, seconded by Councilmember Mize. All in favor, say aye. Or is there any discussion? I'm sorry. I didn't think so. All in favor? Those opposed? We are dismissed.